Here we are at Vicksburg National Military Museum. It is January 3rd, 2022, and we have been here before. Be sure to check out my video on the Illinois Monument. But today we're just going to be walking around and checking out the different exhibits. These cannons were actually used during the Civil War. According to this plaque right here, these cannons were all actually used and fired during the conflict. Artillery, the king of battle. Look at the different types of shots that they fired. Yikes. That is some hardcore stuff. These are the type of hills they have in Vicksburg, Mississippi. And this is where the cannons were kind of lodged up against. I mean, these hills are tight. Super tight. And then this is where the cannon is and would be. Now, we were along the Union line right now. The Union boys were giving it to them hard. They split their cannons up unlike the Confederates. This is the U.S. 12th Battery. Wisconsin Light Artillery. Love you, Wisconsin. Captain William Zickerick. It had 4 10-pounders, Parrott rifles. So you had the one right here, kind of hidden away. And then there's these two, which are my favorite. They're tucked in between these trees. Isn't that a great position for a cannon? I think so. I mean, how cool is that? So from here, they can shoot over there. But this guy only had 4 cannons. So he was, like I said, the North split up their cannons. Isn't that cool? And these hills were brutal. Absolutely brutal. And these are the 10-pound cannons. One of the best moves the North made was splitting them up. The Confederates, they had all their cannons together, and it didn't work out. This is still Captain William Zickerick. Captain William Zickerick. Rest in peace. Thank you for holding back the Confederate imbeciles with these sweet, sweet messages of freedom. Pretty cool, huh? Let's see if we can look inside there. We're entering the main battlefield of the Vicksburg Civil War, or the United States Civil War through Vicksburg. Now, this is the Confederate side over here, and the Union side is on the other side. That is the Illinois Memorial that is dedicated to those many thousands of Illinois residents who died here during the Civil War. And these hills are where it was fought, which is what really kept it a battle with the cannons, because as you can see, these hills were not super easy to just get across without getting shot. It really made this a killing zone. And so when I first came here, I was taken back by the beauty, but the more I thought about what this land was used, it had to be a complete nightmare to those who were actually here, fighting here for these mounds, for these precious few inches. Now, Illinois has the most monuments out of all of them. This is one of the first really interesting Illinois monuments that I saw, but it wouldn't even be close to the best Illinois monument I saw. Illinois lost so many people here. Now, every state lost people, but Illinois lost a lot. Now, this is the cannon tour. This was the line here for the Union. Now, what the Union did different than the Confederate is they spread their cannons out. They were able to flank with their cannons and hold more of a larger radius because they didn't concentrate their cannons so much. The Confederates packed a heavy punch, but at the cost of no mobility. Eventually, when their cannons were taken out, they didn't have much left to give, and they would secede here. This right here is an Ohio and Illinois regiment that was part of this group of cannons. And then there's this other group of cannons down here. And what you're looking at in the background is the Illinois exhibit, the Illinois Monument, which is absolutely beautiful. I guess for the sake of this video, we can visit it one more time because it's worth it. It's worth seeing it again. It's such a beautiful monument. It's right there. It looks like it belongs in Washington, D.C. And then you've got that house out there, precariously built. We'll go check that out too later on in this tour. Look at how brutal that battlefield is. I would not want to rush that. The topography here is so beautiful. So beautiful. So we're making our way to the Illinois Monument. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you would be disappointed to not see it. So this is a giant drive. I was trying not to give you guys my my front window because it's not the cleanest right now. I just drove here. Alright, the Shirley House, Illinois Monument. There's the Illinois Monument, and here is the battlefield. Let's check out the Illinois Monument. Another view of that battlefield, this being the Union line right here. The Confederate line is just past that hill over there. And here we are at the beautiful, beautiful Illinois Monument. What a gorgeous, gorgeous piece of architecture. The first time I saw it, I was absolutely dumbstruck. I couldn't believe I had been coming to Mississippi all this time and hadn't been here yet. It's so beautiful. On the inside, on the outside, the echoes. It really is a beautiful monument to all those who lost their life. Wow. The view of the battlefield from up here is much better. Now, my favorite part is the amount of detail once you get inside, and that birds live in here. I don't appreciate the how they've disrespected Abraham Lincoln's name. Don't appreciate that. There you go. There you have it. Who does the sun want us to learn about today? The 63rd Infantry. Captain James Isaminger. And Lieutenant George W. Short with Lieutenant Milan Edson. It's hard to read that. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't she lovely? Oh, looks like we got visitors. So this is the Wisconsin. Let me try that again. This is the Wisconsin Monument here at the Vicksburg National War Museum. Wisconsin and all the Midwest states had a big part in the Civil War. Obviously, they were fighting the evil, tyrannical, soulless South. And while they were doing that, we lost a lot of good boys around here. And this is the Wisconsin Monument, which is not as impressive. It's not as impressive as the Illinois Monument, but it is still very impressive. A beautiful, beautiful piece of architecture in marble. Reminds me of Monument Circle, downtown Indianapolis. The memorial is dedicated to grateful remembrance of the faithful service, unselfish devotion, and escalated patriotism of Wisconsin. Wisconsin exhibit. The statues here are breathtaking. Just a bunch of dudes from Wisconsin firing mortars in Vicksburg, Mississippi. And at the end, they were all friends, because that's the Wisconsin way. Oh yeah, just loading some cannons. Bring freedom back. Haha. This guy's like a sniper. Civil War musket sniper. July 4th, 1863. Thank you, state of Wisconsin, for being awesome, even to 2022. Of courage. On May 19th, 1863, the 55th Illinois Infantry was pinned down by enemy fire and running out of ammunition. Orion P. Howie, a 14-year-old musician, volunteered to run back and get more. On the way he was wounded, he found General Sherman near this location and asked for the needed cartridges. For his heroic run, Howie became one of the youngest recipients of the Medal of Honor. What arrested my attention then was that one so young, carrying a musket ball wound through his leg, should have found his way to me on that fatal spot and delivered his message, General Sherman's letter for the Medal of Honor. Good job, Ryan P. Howie. I'm going to get that right one day. He seems to kind of kick off this walking trail here, so we'll follow it. It looks like it's going to go to some pretty locations and check out some little nests that the cannons used to hang out in. These cannons were sneaky, just barely getting their muzzle over the landmass. I've noticed the North likes to actually protect their cannons, not keep them out in the open. We'll see the stark difference when we get to the Confederate side. You see what I'm saying? How that cannon, if you're looking at it, you're pretty much only seeing the barrel of the cannon looking at you and the top of the wheels. Another Illinois Light Artillery, big boss here. 1st Illinois Light Artillery, Lieutenant John A. Fitch, Captain Alan C. Waterhouse. Way to go, gentlemen, for reining freedom in. Wow. I guess this is another road. This is murder. They were all volunteers and unmarried, those 150 Union men called the Forlorn Hope. Powerful cannon had pounded the Confederates for another part of the battlefield, and it shows how the cannons were up top. This is Ewing's approach. The cannons were up top on these hills, just raining down on the poor Confederates. I mean, yes, they were evil. Yes, they were racist. Yes, they were probably the worst thing that could have ever happened. But also, they were still Americans. So it's crazy that we did this to each other. It's crazy that it came to this, and I hope it never does again. Look at this crazy battlefield. Can you imagine having to fight in this and charge up this? The Wisconsin 6th Infantry had to. Rest in peace. This is Ewing's approach. This is how he got into Vicksburg. Beginning of sap from Ewing's approach commenced about June 21st, immediately in rear of front traverse. Okay. Now we've come to a USS Cairo or visitor center on Confederate Avenue. We're going to go to the USS Cairo. The Confederate line. This is the 26th Louisiana. This is what they held. Does not look as flat as what the North was holding at all. But maybe it's something we got to pull into to appreciate. So let's do that. Well, compared to the Union lines, the Confederate line was mighty steep. Watching the approach. On this steep hill crowned the rifle pits. Confederate easily threw back a Union assault on May 22, 1863, during the siege that followed. Confederate sharpshooters could only harass Union troops as they slowly dug trenches up the hill. Oh, I see. So they were they were up here shooting down at the Unions. Like, come on, guys, stop building the trench, you silly geese. Pew, 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 pew. Not that awesome monument I see out in the yonder. I'm on my way to it right now. We'll see what it's like, but that thing looks pretty cool. The Tennessee monument to the Confederate soldiers from Tennessee who died here in Vicksburg, Tennessee. Honor to those who never sought it, fame to those who never wished it, glory to those who never dreamed it, immortality for they earned it, the Confederate soldiers of Tennessee. Immortality? I guess so. All right. Dedicated to the Tennessee Confederate soldiers who served in defense of Vicksburg. And then back there you can see that monument I was talking about. Stronghold on the bluffs. Amid 19th century America, rivers were highways, and the Mississippi was the greatest of them all. The nation's main artery for commerce. My God, I fucked this up. Stronghold on the bluffs, safeguarding the river. Check out the Mississippi River. This is where all the battles in Vicksburg went down. This is around where all these men were coming off on this river to come fight in Vicksburg and bomb the residents. Amid 19th century America, rivers were highways, and the Mississippi was the greatest of them all. The nation's main artery was commerce. Main artery was for commerce leading all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. By early 1863, two Confederate strongholds still blocked Union shipping from a key section of the river, Port Hudson in Louisiana and here in Vicksburg. Vicksburg River port and railroad hub were critical to the Confederacy. Vital supplies and troops arrived from the south and west and then traveled to armies in the east via railroad. Powerful cannons on the bluffs commanded the important stretch of the Mississippi River. So let's go check out those defenses. Defenses the Confederates had atop the Mississippi. Cannons like this hanging out over the bluffs, sniping down on the river. Got a feeling we're about to be treated to quite a beautiful view of the Mississippi River right now. Haha. Beautiful, and it's right here. It seems like it's at a fork in the Mississippi. Well, not a fork, but definitely a side canal. Let's read a little bit about these Confederates. Johnson's Company, Tennessee Heavy Artillery, River Batteries, Army of Vicksburg, Captain T. N. Johnston. A detachment of the company served one 3-inch rifle in this position, Fort Hill, from May 19th to the end of the defense on July 4th, 1863. Ooh, that had to suck to get hit with one of those rounds. Final resting place of 17,000 Americans. That's right. This is the final resting place of all the bodies, pretty much, of the actual soldiers who fought in the American Civil War. This hill was designated their burial spot, and this is it. Final resting place with dignity. Gaining control of Vicksburg and the Mississippi River cost so many lives, more than 10,000 Union dead. In the aftermath of battle, the dead were often buried hastily in makeshift graves at hundreds of Civil War battle sites. The remains of fallen soldiers lay nearly forgotten, scattered in woods, fields, and roadside ditches. National cemeteries were created in 1862 to provide a remedy, proper and honorable burials for the men who died in service. Established in 1866, Vicksburg National Cemetery holds the remains of 17,000 Union servicemen, more than any other national cemetery, and about 1,000 veterans of the other U.S. conflicts. Crazy, right? Try to get as much of this into the camera frame as I can. I'm gonna see if I can get in there to get a little closer. Everything has been off for coronavirus, so I will see if they will let me in. The fact that no one's in there kind of tells me they won't, but we'll see. During the National Cemetery, no vehicles, but we're walkers. And this is the National Cemetery for the Civil War. An act to establish and protect national cemeteries approved February 22nd, 1867. Let's check out some of these old Civil War headstones. Oh, it says unknown soldier. Unknown soldier. They all say unknown soldier. Interesting. So, unknown U.S. soldier. Unknown U.S. soldier. 42288. These are just their numbers, but it doesn't say who they are. Runan from Ohio. Good to meet you, buddy. See if we can find a steadier place. Get some of these names. It's a beautiful, beautiful cemetery. So far, just a bunch of unknown soldiers. I guess that goes with the whole premise that a lot of these people were blown to bits and only pieces were found. Okay, we're getting some names. Rest in peace. And thank you, gentlemen, for all your sacrifice, for allowing America to be what it is today. Well, kinda. But God bless and rest easy. Welcome to the USS Cairo, y'all. A beautiful ironclad ship that was sunk in the Yazoo River by a mine and brought back to life by the modern marvels of engineering. And you can see it, a whole tour of it, the whole thing. Just be sure to check out my other video where we tour this bad boy. To the USS Cairo 1 minute tour, except we're not editing, we're just gonna move fast. Okay. This is the USS Cairo. It's an ironclad ship that went down in the Yazoo River in 1863. When it went down, it didn't come back for a long, long time, but they brought it back because of modern engineering. This is the wheel that drove the thing. This is the arm that did it. These are the steampunks that made it hot. These are the cannons that went boom. This is the design of the wood. It was a crew of immigrants. This is the anchor, the main tourney. This is a view from the front. This is where the pilot sat. This is the other side of the boat. These are the gun cannons out the side. That's the armor plating that was done afterwards by the crew of the Yazoo. Oh, I'm messing this up. And this is the wood/iron finish. We're at the visitor center for Vicksburg. They got a battle app. Check it out. Well, here we are in the visitor center. They have a very nice movie theater. And this is their little area for the Civil War for Vicksburg. It's kind of nice. Look at there, and that's just how the theater looks. I'll take you to the theater in a bit. Bomb shelters. Oh, they're escaped relentless shelling from federal artillery. Many citizens of Vicksburg took refuge underground. They dug caves into hillsides. Wow, this was pretty common. They were digging caves around here to stay away from the artillery shelling. Our new habitation was an excavation made in the earth. Cave life in Vicksburg. Who would have thought that caves were the main place to stay in Vicksburg? During the siege, Union cannon bombarded the city of Vicksburg from the east, while Union naval forces lobbed mortar shells from the west. Caught in the crossfire, Vicksburg civilians sought the safety of caves dug into the sides of hills. Caves usually contained one or two rooms. They brought the basic necessities of life, such as beds, chairs, and rugs, into the hot, damp, musty, and humid caves. People claimed their daily life as best they could under these circumstances. In one instance, a child was born in a cave. The parents named him William Siege Green. From enslaved people to freedom fighters. Let me put this on so you guys can feel free to stop the video and read these. It's very nice. Camp life. Again, I'll let you guys read this, just in the interest of time to those who want to keep the tour moving. Caring for the wounded. So this was a little hospital area, I see. And then these were the trenches. Life in the trenches. Yikes. American on American violence right there for life on the trenches. And this is life in the trenches. The hot beat unmercifully.